Hello, everyone. Welcome to our post-trade deadline podcast. It's been a couple of days late, but got round to it eventually.
Yeah, that's better than our usual speed with stuff, so that's progress at least.
Maybe. Um, so, yeah. How did you find the trade deadline, Sam?
Um, Weird. The deadline itself, it was it was a bit of a crescendo, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a lot of waffle for about a week before the
Yeah, or
deadline.
maybe more. Maybe slightly more than that with the...
Yeah, and then late at night, well, early morning for us, the Bauer trade happened, and then you thought, yeah, that's going to trigger stuff on the 31st, and absolutely nothing happened for quite a while,
Until the
and
last
then
about hour and a half, wasn't it?
Jesus Aguilar got traded, and you thought that's going to make stuff happen, and that didn't really, nothing really moved then, and then it got like really late, like it was literally the last 45 minutes, everything just exploded, and then actually the biggest stuff happened after the deadline passed, ridiculously.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of thought nothing... It was going to end up being very quiet, like, and basically nothing was going to happen for a
Yeah,
while. Because there were all these rumours for absolutely ages and nothing was happening, and there wasn't like there was even much else to the rumours the national baseball reporters were saying other than just
scouts
the
watched some.
scouts watch this person, oh this team, this list of teams might be interested in this person.
Yeah,
There was hardly anything even about teams actually negotiating or
players they'd be
with a
interested in
specific
a
yeah
trade.
or anything
Yeah,
like that. So it seemed like it just wasn't going to happen. Um, and a lot of people still saying that it was like very disappointing, but I think it was very overplayed and overhyped maybe,
I think
like it
part of it.
probably always is. Is just yeah, you didn't not obviously not all of the big name players moved and like the big trades happened, but there was a
Well, I
couple
think.
of really big ones and a lot of small ones which are going to make quite a big difference.
See, I think the reason that it's being talked about as like a bit of a bit underwhelming is because all those ones that we just said they speculated over endlessly, almost none of them happened. Marcus Stroman moved, but that was a bit before the deadline. But all of the others, Vasquez, Wheeler, Bumgarner,
Yeah,
Smith, even Mike Minor, none of those guys got traded.
yeah,
So the thing was that, like, the guys at the end, you look at some of the reaction to the trade deadline, and it was,
yeah.
look at all these players who
Well,
didn't move. But then the list
I
of
mean,
players
some of
that,
the ones that didn't move were a bit silly,
oh yeah, I
but
agree.
well, I think particularly who was it? Mike Miner. I think that was sort of a bit strange. He didn't move.
I was surprised by that, but I suspect that was where
People probably were not wanting to pay,
they thought they were selling high,
and
and
then
no one was willing to
because that
buy
was
high.
basically the story of a lot of it, wasn't it? Um, that was a lot of the rumours that people, general managers saying the prices are too high, but I think if anything, it's people, the buying teams just don't want to pay, give
Anything
away
really.
any good prospects for anyone,
And then the sellers
like
can say,
compared to they
fine, we'll
used
keep.
to. Yeah,
But I think that so Syndergaard's another one on that list actually. Players that were talked about being traded, but it didn't really get close.
no,
But then there were actually big deals that happened that we didn't think would happen
yeah,
with
Zack
obviously
Greinke.
Greinke and even Mark Melanson, to be honest, because of the size
Yeah,
of his contract.
yeah, that's quite big, and to be honest, how good he's actually been. Like, I mean, seems sort of ridiculous to people that haven't been following him, and that he's got this reputation of just being a bad contract now. But I was saying when we've been watching the Giants last few weeks that I think he looks like he's basically back to his best. Because a lot of times with the Giants, while we played with injury a bit, his fastball had been down to like 89, 90 miles an hour, like at top, and he'd been missing the zone quite a lot, like a lot of wasted pitches. Whereas the last like how many games is it? I think it was his last 9 games for the Giants or something.
Basically, not.
I think he was his cutter was getting up to 84, which is like as high as ever. Not 84, 94, which is as
Yeah,
high as ever got when he was good. And he was, just painting on the outside corner of it,
that
and then
yeah.
getting the curveball, getting the big break on the curveball again, and just hitting the bottom of the strike zone, which is I think was when he was at his best. Was basically
So
just clipping the zone so people can't take it,
the recent improvement
but
in his
also they're
numbers,
not easy pitches to hit.
there's obviously a chance it's a fluke, but I don't. There's other stuff to suggest it's not, like you said. So he's clearly found something else in his stuff, and the cutter command recently has been exceptional. And he's the curveball's got a real snap to it again.
Yeah,
A lot of the time since the big contract, I mean, he's had the injury issues, which obviously a lot of it. The curveball's just been like this kind of like weak thing. It was an easy take if it was below the
yeah.
zone.
Well, and if you left it in the zone, it was getting smashed.
Yeah, it was a home run. It felt like every single time it was left in the zone.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so if we, I mean, I really thought that was a nice move for the Braves because he's only got one more year. They've agreed to pay all his money,
and
um,
didn't give up much.
and their payroll is quite small at the moment, so they can
Yeah,
afford to pay that
and
money.
they really badly need some relief pitchers.
Well, obviously, because I'm not paying the money, so it's easy to say this. I much prefer that deal where you go, we want Melanson enough that we'll pay his contract, and we only give up like one
Tristan
pitcher,
Beck, who,
and that reliever that
yeah,
the Giants have already
and well,
DFA'd.
they've got that huge group of like really like highly rated relief pitching prospects. They've had some of them that come up now and made it. Some of them that's still waiting for like Ian Anderson.
Yeah,
Um, and basically Tristan Beck is like not even in that group.
yeah.
He's just he's going to be behind all these other guys anyway. Like I don't think he was never really going to have many opportunities at the Braves.
So I like it. I like it particularly for them that they bit the bullet and were like, we'll take the chance on. Because if he's anything like he's been lately, he's going to be massive for them. And that they don't, because they could have easily said, right, we'll only pay a quarter of his money, and then the Giants' asking price would obviously be much higher,
Yeah,
particularly because he's now pitching well. And then they seem to pull off quite a nice deal for Shane Green as well.
yeah. What was it? Yeah, that was a weird one, wasn't it? Because there was all the well, that's where it maybe was asking for slightly too much. Well, the rumours were they were asking for like Carter Kieboom and stuff, and that's why nothing was happening with him for ages.
Yeah.
And that package they got, what was it?
It was Travis Demerit and Joey Wentz. Demerit, did you see Demerit came up and I saw a tweet earlier. I don't know if this is exactly true. It was just a tweet, so it could be nonsense. That he's now second in Tigers' O-WAR this season after one game.
Well, so he's actually good. So yeah, that might end up being quite like he might end up being a decent player for the Tigers because he's one of these guys that's still quite young.
He was crushing
Like
it in AAA all year.
Having a ridiculous year in AAA,
But he's not got a track record of that in the minors.
No,
last year he was not good in AA.
Yeah, but that happens sometimes, doesn't it? People just work it out. So
yeah,
but it's completely different to what they were asking for before.
They also got Joey Wentz, who
like a
Baseball
top
Prospectus really like. But again, because they've got such ridiculous depth of arms in that farm, he's not even one of their top arms, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. He's a guy that was highly rated, wasn't he? Like last year.
Yeah.
I've not looked, but I think he must have just been bad. Like last year and this year, because now he's nowhere near that group.
He was good last year, actually.
Oh.
He was good last year, but this year he's been poor in AA. And then the other deal that they made was
Chris Martin.
Colby Allard for Chris Martin. Again, just dealing from this surplus of pitches and a guy that was highly thought of and has dropped off a bit.
Oh yeah, Colby Allard's the one, isn't it, that was more highly rated?
Yeah,
I think.
And that's another one that's just like they've got enough starters and like just a ridiculous number of pitchers. I was a bit surprised they gave up Allard, but at the same time, he's not doing anything in AAA this year.
What they've done is it's like the first time in this sort of this dynasty they're trying to build, I suppose. Well, it's a bit ridiculous to say that when they've not actually done anything yet. Of actually making like a win now move. They've given up prospects, but what they've done is they've done it in like a balanced way. Basically like what everyone wants to do now, it seems, when no one wants to give stuff up. Unlike what the Phillies did, where they got in a like a decent position with some of their prospects coming up, like Rhys Hoskins and Aaron Nola starting to be really good, and then just gave away the rest of their good prospects.
Yeah.
For players for right now, and now they're sort of in a not great situation. Whereas the Braves have sort of managed to balance it because they really needed bullpen help this year, like really badly, and they've managed to get it and get pretty good bullpen help, but without actually ruining their farm. so they've still got a good farm.
They could really push the Dodgers.
Yeah,
They're going to be really interesting to see how they do come playoff time. I guess we should probably talk about Greinke.
yeah, that's the other surprise move. We were talking about him like a week ago, weren't we? Or was it a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, we spent a while just saying how
That no one's,
underrated Zack Greinke
yeah,
is.
and now
He's going to the Hall of
no
Fame.
one's talking about him.
Yeah, he's going to the Hall of
He
Fame.
should be.
He's amazing. And
He should be, but because he's underrated, maybe not yet. But now he's gone to the Astros, he probably will, because he'll probably
he's going to win at least one World Series.
get and just be really good, really good for a few years.
Yeah, the
Astros.
trouble is, I don't, because it's, to me at least, I don't have too much to say about the Greinke deal because
Yeah.
I'm such a big fan of him. It's just like, as the immediate reaction everyone had was, wow, they've not got Greinke, Cole, and Verlander. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't really have anything to add to that. That's ridiculously good.
I think it was silly that there was no talk about him before. All the other stars there was talk about, because in the off season there was talk of will they deal Greinke, and actually I think I remember there was stuff then coming out about they'll only deal him for like a package of prospects, which is what they got.
Yeah,
Like they're not interested in just cutting the salary for him because he's too good for that.
I absolutely love it for the Diamondbacks.
But
I love it for the Diamondbacks.
But yeah, I don't know why there wasn't talk about it, especially when about a week before the deadline, while the Diamondbacks actually had exactly the same record as the Giants.
Their GM, their GM said
their GM came out and said that they're not doing well enough to try and win, so they need to just sell, which I mean is a little bit defeatist, to be honest. But after that as well, I don't know, all these other links which seem to be slightly like exaggerated and maybe slightly just speculation. I don't know why no one was speculating about Greinke, why there was no rumours with Greinke, because that seemed like an obvious one to me, because
everyone was busy talking about Robbie Ray for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, like Greinke's, like all the other pitchers everyone was talking about. I mean, I'd argue Bumgarner's quite good, but like Greinke's like actually has a much better track record.
He's a
like
cut above everyone else
that they were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seemed like he was gettable for not that much, because the Diamondbacks were never going to pay the whole salary. So yeah, it just puzzles me of why there was no mention of that by any of the media, like beforehand. But
yeah, that was a bit of a weird one. And the haul they got was really nice, wasn't it? I mean, they got two young pitchers,
quite a bit of depth, but like top end depth to their.
Yeah, they got two young pitchers, Seth Beer, who
I think he's actually broken a top 100 on Pipeline.
Yeah, he has. Yeah,
like right at the bottom.
And they got that Josh Rojas, is that his name?
Yeah, who earlier in the day was being talked about in the Bumgarner trade of like the Giants are interested in him, and we were like, yeah, but they don't want just that.
But yeah,
he's basically
he's going to be fascinating to see if that's just he's had the best year of his career.
Yeah, because a lot of people probably won't have heard anything about him. He was basically a late pick that was, I think it was that the guy? I think this guy was drafted when he was like 23, which is pretty old for a draft pick. And but this year in AAA is having like a 2020 season or something, isn't he? Or he's got over 20 home runs and over 20 stolen bases already.
He's got
like ridiculous.
Yeah, he's having a ridiculous year.
Like an OPS over 900 and stuff, and as a shortstop.
Yeah, and can play all over the shop.
But yeah, so it's sort of quite interesting, but not like a highly rated prospect.
Yeah, so it could just be that this is the fake, the false year, if you like.
Yeah.
And that this isn't who he is, or he is this guy. In which case, it was ridiculous they got him as the fourth player in the trade.
Yeah. But yeah, they were basically starting their rebuild. Like it's sort of weird that they'd kept Greinke this long, to be honest. Anyway, but they finally got the good haul from him, and he'd started pitching really well this year, like really, really well. Because after like they traded Goldschmidt and stuff, it's like that's basically giving up, isn't it?
But I guess, and this is, I mean, we could go down a long tangent here, which you probably try and avoid. But I guess this is the benefit to doing it, unlike how the Marlins and other selling teams do it, is they said we're going to trade